Well, folks have been asking me for an irritating amount of time, no matter how many times I told them I don't have the Disney Channel, I only have Disney Plus. I can't finish the Owl House Season 2 until it hits the damn streaming service. Well, it finally has all of it. Owl House Season 2. So, while I kind of appreciate Disney doing its released 5 episodes at a time instead of waiting until the very tail end thing, because it means I'm getting bits and pieces along the way, it does also mean that people like get on my butt every time there's 5 new episodes of something that I've talked about before. Please don't do that. I prefer to talk about full seasons. So I have now seen Owl House Season 2. This is another one of the shows that I watched with my kiddo. She loves it. Actually, funny thing, the day the episodes dropped was the day that she was actually going to be coming over to my house from her mother's, because we trade off later in the day. So she knew they came out. She texted me, "I'm not going to wait until I'm over there for us to watch these together. I'm watching them now, but you're not allowed to watch them without me." So she watched them when she woke up that morning, came over here, and insisted we watch them again so she could watch me watch them. So she loves the hell out of this show still. As for me, yeah, this is good stuff. The characters are still fun. Luce actually might be one of my favorite protagonists in modern TV. Because more often than not, I gravitate towards side characters. Protagonists have a tendency to be boring. Let's be honest about it. Even ones where the protagonists aren't super boring, it's not uncommon for the side characters to just be more interesting as a result. But I really like Luce. I love her energy. I love her sense of excitement. I love her moral compass, which is very, very well tuned. I just like her. I like her a lot. And she's very cute with Amity, that's a bonus. Gay bonus points. I'm not going to pretend that's not a thing with me, because yeah, of course it is. But I liked just the deepening of all the relationships. I liked, as we got more into the relationship between Ida and Lilith. I liked, getting to know their mother. I thought that was handled pretty well, all things considered. The stuff with King, I was initially kind of skeptical on when, we see this guy who's like, "Oh, this appears to be King's father." I'm like, how is this going to turn out? They did some interesting things with it, and some surprise twists. I was like, I'm sorry, what? What now? So that played out pretty well. The stuff with Bellows. First of all, I kind of called his identity a while before they did the reveal on that. Not because it was super obvious, but just because there were a couple of things that were being deliberately obscured, and so just putting 2 and 2 together, I'm like, okay, well, if they're obscuring this and they're obscuring that, then the logical conclusion is that those are connected, which would mean this. That's basically how I got ahead of that twist. But not in a way that made the whole thing feel like it was wasting my time until it got there, because the point at which the characters figured it out does make sense, because I figured it out early because I'm looking at narrative structure. They're just living their lives. So it didn't make me feel like the characters were stupid. That's where you have to be careful if the audience gets ahead of you on a twist. Is if you figure something out and the characters have all the exact same information and they don't, that can run a risk. But this was a case where what I was looking at was meta structural stuff, which the characters aren't that self-aware. They don't know they're in a TV show. There is some good creepy imagery, which I appreciate. Some of the stuff with Amity's parents and her dad kind of breaking away from her mom, and sort of the realization of just how committed, let's go with that, her mother is to the stuff that she has decided she's going to do. Yeah, those were some choices. Amity's got some processing to do. I strongly suspect. I still like Hootie a lot. I shouldn't. He's annoying, but I really do like him. He's just so absurd. Uh, I feel like the general build up towards the ending was pretty well done. I won't lie, I kind of missed the school a little bit. We got little bits of it here and there. Some of the stuff with Principal Bump, I actually liked quite a bit. But we didn't get a ton of the school, and I get why, because if you're telling a grander overall story, it actually makes sense to take it out of the school. The school setting lends itself very well to episodic storytelling, where everything is completely closed off at the end of every episode and we just go to a new situation next time. School setting works great for that. That's not really what Owl House is doing. Definitely not at this point. So I get why we don't see as much of it, but I did kind of miss it a little bit. Just with some of the weirdness going on there. And Luce was always just so excited to be there. The stuff with the Golden Guard was fine. I didn't find him to be a particularly compelling character. I mean, he was fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He didn't bug me or anything. I just never really got invested in him. I was way more invested in his palisman than I was in him, if I'm going to be completely honest. Rain, I like Rain. I liked actually a number of the sort of head of coven characters who were kind of recurring. Initially, sort of some of them seeming a little bit one note, and then gaining depth with later appearances, which is something the show's actually pretty good for in general. So that was good stuff. I'm frustrated this isn't getting a full season. I am glad they are getting some more stuff afterwards. That having been said, this is the kind of finale that I like and I wish more shows would do, which is that it clearly has more story to tell, but it is still an ending. So that if, worst case scenario, it didn't get a third season, while it would serve as a somewhat melancholic ending, it would work as an ending. And that's the kind of season finale endings I like. The ones that very blatantly are like, the story is totally not done, those tend to annoy me, not just because of the risk of, well, you know what, if you get canceled, I'm going to feel like I never got any kind of conclusion of this, satisfying, melancholic, or otherwise. But it also, it feels cheap after a while. It's one of a number of things I didn't like about the ending of Stranger Things Season 4. Actually, there were a lot of things in general I didn't like about Stranger Things Season 4. There should already be a video up by now. You can check that out. But what this does in terms of resolving the immediate situation, but also being very clear, like, there is way more for us to do if we ever get the chance to do it. That's kind of what I like. That's kind of what I prefer. So I feel like it built up to a good, strong, tense, creepy in a number of ways, visually and in terms of some of the characters. The Collector is a kind of character who I will just always find creepy, which is somebody with a lot of power who either is a child or has a childlike approach to things, insofar as you kind of question whether they even fully understand how dangerous the power they wield is. And I get that off of him, which is a very different kettle of fish from Bellows, although some of the stuff they did visually with Bellows towards the end, whoo, dang. I will say that it's interesting, the parallels between this and Amphibia, because the way it ends, the way this second season ends, is not, at least on paper, vastly dissimilar from the ending of the second season of Amphibia. But it does have a bit of a different vibe to it. I mean, there were some, like, oh, dang, aspects of the second season of Amphibia, but this feels like even more of a loss, even more of a how do we pick up the pieces from here? It felt more weight to it than Amphibia's not dissimilar season 2 ending. I hope that with the, I believe it's 3 specials that they're going to get, that the creative team behind this are able to do everything that they want to do. I'm sure some things aren't going to get to happen, but as far as the primary story goes, I hope they're able to cover everything they want, and I definitely am looking forward to seeing it. I'll probably tackle those specials one at a time as they hit Disney Plus, not when they are on the Disney Channel, because I don't have that. But Owl House Season 2, what do you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Like, share, subscribe. Patreon is what pays the bills around here. But even if you are unable to do that, all the other stuff that I mentioned helps me out as well. But don't worry too much about that either. We take a relaxed attitude around here. So just come on back next time you need a break. Hoot hoot! Now my thanks to my highest supporting patrons. Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Tarak, The Thing That Goes Doink in the Anime, Oliver B., Melinda Walters, Udelki, The Oath the Boy, Bernabi Lax the Poodle, Zach, Idolin, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperol, Bookworm, Adam, RDL Taylor, Shane Ross, Shane Gorley, Brendan LaRose, and TT. If you want to hear me possibly butcher your name, check out the rewards on the Patreon. And thanks to all you folks.